however way you feel it's suitable. Uh, Namaste, everybody. Uh, good to see you all. Um, when we were talking about with Brother Shankara last week about the agenda of the meeting, and I said we have not, instead of one or two people speaking, we should have an open forum because what happens is that we usually visit the center and we have a coffee clutch after the session and we get together and we talk to each other. That is a big part of being together as a part of a congregation and satsanga in holy company, which we have not done for a while. And I mean, I usually attend the classes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but not on Sundays much. So um, every now and then I will dial in on Sunday. But I just thought that this would be a good opportunity to get to know each other, to the new congregation members and old ones, and just share our thoughts and our journey. It's been tough times for most of us for last 2 years due to the pandemic, and either it has been financial or emotional or career-wise or spiritual. Uh, so I just thought that this would be a very good time. And usually we have an annual meeting, which usually we might schedule in April or May. But sometimes there is not much, there is an agenda to talk about in that meeting. So I just thought that this might be a good opportunity. So what I'll do is that I'll share some of you are new to me and some of you know me. So what I'll do is I'll just share my background a little bit, just tell myself about a little bit about myself and maybe for 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll see if anybody wants to share their thoughts, and then we'll go with the flow. Um, so my name is Shailesh Pawar, and I was born and brought up in India, and I was introduced to the movement of Vedanta, which is the Ramakrishna Mutt in 1991. Uh, my father, he's a very spiritual person. He's still living, and so is my mom. But my father is very spiritual person. He introduced me to his guru. His guru was a realized soul, and since 5 years old, I used to visit him. So I knew I got introduced to mysticism and Hinduism and the mystical part of it, and I would see him. Doing puja and being in a very high state of consciousness. And I was very lucky. Now that when I look back almost 30, 40 years later, I realized that how fortunate I was. So with that background, I started reading about Swami Vivekananda. First book I read was his life, short life, and then that inspired me. And then I picked up another book, Karma Yoga, and then I started formally visiting the Ramakrishna Mutt of Pune, which is near Mumbai, Bombay, about 100 miles of west of Bombay. And that Mutt was operational about 15 years before that, before 1991. And so when I started visiting the center there were a lot of young people who of my age. Uh, they provided me that company. When you're young, I was only 19, and so we used to play cricket, soccer, and whatnot, but also hang out with monks and talk about Vedanta. So that inspired me a lot. And some of these friends are now monks, and they are the president of health centers now. So they were so motivational and driven and very pure souls. So that pushed me to, and in '94 I got initiated by Swami Bhuteshanandaji, 12th president of the order at Belur Math. And if Bhuteshanandaji, I would say Swami Sarvapriyananda's guru is also Swami Bhuteshanandaji. So we are of that age group, at that time. I came to United States in '99, and I started visiting this center in year 2000. 2000 December is I remember I came first time, and Swami Yogeshananda was who had not started the center, but he was a part of the center. He was a resident minister there. And I consider him to be my Upaguru and very elevated soul. Over the period of time I have known him, though he has left his body last year, I still feel his presence in my spiritual life. So I think he was Very amazing soul, and he still, you know, contributes, and quite a few people have that experience. Um, so that's something which I would say played a very important role. My company with Swami Yogeshananda, and especially, when I look back, 2001, 2, 3, 4, those years, there were few people coming to the center. There were people, but I was very young, and I had some time. So I used to come and do a lot of service, yard work. I was young, and would cut the grass and do this that. And Yogeshananda ji, and we would sit and talk, and his association, he had actually seen someone. I remember he once told me that he had met a person who saw Swami Vivekananda in the 1940s or 1950s, so who had seen Swami Vivekananda. So it was that I always felt very close connection. Then he met someone in Varanasi who had seen Sri Ramakrishna, the very old lady. So, I always felt that I was living so close to the source. Uh, I felt that. And so it inspired me. Otherwise, I'm married and I have two boys. Now, one older one goes to college. The younger one is 16-year-old. So I have a family and I have all these responsibilities. Uh, but I always kept my Vedanta center. I would visit once a week back then because I was live closer, and uh, started getting more involved with. And when Swami Yogeshananda left, I remember Swami Brahma Vidyananda came, and before that, uh, I for 2 years or maybe a year and a half, we had nobody to look at the center. So I started taking one of the Tuesday classes. So that helped a little bit. And so after that, uh, Brother Shankara asked me to be part of the board, and so I became the board member into 2010, became the secretary and state secretary for 3 years, and then in 2017, I believe, I became the president. So that's something which I would like to share. Now, my spiritual, I'm a devotee. I worship Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji. They play a very important role in my spiritual. But most of us who are associated with the order, they have them as a spiritual ideals. And since I was initiated by Swami Bhutishanandaji, I've been chanting my Guru Mantra. So that's my part of the spiritual practice, is chanting Guru Mantra and constant remembrance. So that is my spiritual practice. I do not read that many spiritual texts. I used to, but every now and then I will read something like Bhagavad Gita or maybe Patanjali Yoga Sutra or Yoga Vashishta, which I recently read. But my main practice is uh, chanting Guru Mantra and devotion, and coming to the center is kind of a pilgrimage to me, because I myself had several spiritual experiences at the center, to be honest with you. In the shrine, when meditating with Swami Yogeshananda, I always felt that it was such a live wire. I mean, he was amazing. Uh, so the physically also visiting the center is part of my spiritual practice, just to be there and be with all the members. And Holy Mother used to say, "You all are my children." If you remember, everyone who came, and not just but real mother. So if you look in that sense, then we all are siblings, actually, in real sense, right? And so always feel that we should be open to each other, we should be loving, and we should support each other. And I've seen other organizations where people will do everything or anything for their fellow members. So I think we should have that serving attitude, and that is my aim, to serve on the board, to bring everyone together or serve in whatever way. Now, that is what I would like to share now, is my how Vedanta has affected me, how association with this center has affected me. What Now, first of all, obviously everybody's experience is that we become better person. We become better person where we become tamed, kind of. We are respectful towards each other. We become financially responsible or career-wise responsible, not indulging too much into things. And that obviously has helped me. If you ask my wife, I was not, even being associated with the Vedanta Center, or it's very difficult to control your nature and things. So So that has helped me to become a better person. Now, as over the period of time, as I've chanted my Guru Mantra, and I always share this openly, is that this mantra changes you. And I've seen quite a few of my friends who are now monks, we talk about it. The mantra actually starts affecting you, and it changes the consciousness inside you. And so what has changed me, in that sense, how it has evolved me spiritually. When I look back, uh, one of the things is that what I've realized is that this world is temporary. That is something which I've learned. And it what happens is that it gets introduced into your mind and intellect that this world is temporary. But then slowly, whatever that spiritual power is works on you, and it completely overtakes you, where you don't have to think that this world is temporary. It just becomes an ingrained part of you. And that is what I have experienced now. And that's the reason why I'm so active here, because I can see that coming to me, that the spiritual life, because this is something extraordinary, that to experience this world continuously as a temporary uh, uh, state, that it what happens is that eventually your senses start withdrawing. You do not get upset. For example, I'll tell you, uh, I would say someone I know, I visited a temple and this person was there and he said something really nasty towards me. And I felt really bad because I didn't respond to him. And it was just, that's what people have sometimes to offer me. And it bothered me. It bothered me a lot. And for 2 or 3 days, it bothered me. And after that, it went away. There is no trace of it. And now what I realize is that and there is no ill intention towards this person at all now. I mean, it's completely gone. So how does it happen? Usually when people try to hurt you, you get so upset about it, and it will stay on your mind. But it has helped, and I realized that my association with the Vedanta Center, my spiritual practice, praying to Sri Ramakrishna, that has helped me. So this is how I get back, and this is how my spiritual life is evolving. And hopefully now it will go further, and it will evolve further. And it may take few years, it may take several years, it may take whole life, next life, thereafter. I don't know. I would like to stay humble and grounded, and see where this journey takes me. So that's about it. I have. I think I've spoken almost 15 minutes. Uh, please. This is an open forum, so please come forward and share your thoughts. And you don't have to share in the same format. Whatever you would like to share it, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, hey, this is Brahmadas. I suppose I could chime in. My
Mr.
like
Brahmadas.
Shailesh, I also can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I also had started my spiritual journey at 19. However, it wasn't Vedanta. I was actually, I was going crazy that year, and I knew it. And I was so desperate. I paid all the money I had in the world to get a mantra and learn transcendental meditation. It was like at the time, I think $350, but that was all I had because I was just a kid, right? And that was my first experience of meditation, and that was also the first time I had read the Bhagavad Gita. It was Swami, no one knows Swami, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's translation. And then I kind of put it away and forgot about it and went on with my life. And fast forward 15, 20 years, I lost a friend of mine who was very dear to me, and I was so very sad. And words started haunting me like, there's never been a time where you nor I nor the kings gathered here have ceased to exist. And I was thinking, where did I hear that before? Where's that coming from? I think it was from Bhagavad Gita. And so I actually went to the library and picked up, I think it was Eknath Easwaran's translation. Yeah, and I started getting into it. And one thing led to another in my soul searching, which led me to Vedanta Center when I returned to the United States from New Zealand. I started showing up at Vedanta Center of what was it? Not the Atlanta one. It was New England, the one up in New England. And the Swami really impressed me. He made quite an impression on me. So when I was here in Atlanta on a project, I started coming to the center, and Swami Yogashananda, for some reason, took a liking to me, and that's one of the reasons I decided to move here. Um,
Wow.
and what really amazed me was I was able to get out to Trabuco, and in his very old age, Yogashananda remembered me, and he started telling people, "Oh, this is Brad," and he helped lay the foundations for the chapel, and he did such a great job. I was like, wow, I was kind of touched by that. This old guy who's like clearly like on his last days, he remembered me, because you lose your memory in old age. So that touched me as well. I have also visited the Swami Vivekananda house in South Pasadena and the Ridgely Retreat. I had definitely profound experiences there. And I do believe Swami Vivekananda came to the United States to give his message to Americans like myself, who just couldn't accept the things I was being told by our current religion and society. I was, if anyone wants to talk to me about the things I was being told that simply I couldn't accept, we can talk about that offline. And also, recently, someone also said something very nasty to me. And one day, Shailesh and I actually hiked up a mountain. We talked about the very real problems and challenges we have in spiritual life. And recently someone said something nasty to me too. And what I've started doing is asking for help from Swamis who I admire. In my case, it was Swami Vivekananda, Swami Prabhavananda, and Swami Yogashananda, who I do believe are still with us and trying to help us. And that helped a lot. That actually helped a great deal, is asking for their assistance. I think invisible hands come to help you. And that's another thing that Vedanta means to me, is it's a proven fact that when you read something and hear it aloud, it sinks in a lot more. You get more depth and breadth from what is being said. For example, I sometimes would read a Shakespeare play and listen to it at the same time, and it really came in full force. So I really, really like that we meet as a congregation and read the writings and words of the God-realized masters. In this case, Swami Vivekananda's Jnana Yoga on Wednesday nights, and Swami Prabhavananda's teachings on Saturdays at noon. When you read it and hear the words at the same time, it's almost like you're sitting at the Swami's feet, and he's with you, teaching you. And then we have an opportunity to, and the reason I really like these ones is because they're interactive. Whereas the ones like, I've attended ones out in like, that Hari Namananda teaches and stuff, but those aren't interactive because there's like hundreds of people on it. You just can't interact with the congregation. But here at the Wednesday night, Saturday morning classes, we're given an opportunity to ask questions, give our thoughts, and get feedback. And one of the interesting side effects is some of you who attend these have seen that my cat attends with me. Sometimes, he's not always there. Shiva is the white cat who likes to attend these. I often listen to replays because sometimes I'll ask a question. I want to hear like what the response was, to have it sink in. And of course, Shiva's with me then too. And then when we actually went to the center one day, my cat Shiva actually recognized Brother Shankara's voice and like went right to him and jumped in his lap. And I think that's because he's been attending our lectures. So that was an unexpected side effect there. Last couple things. As an American, we often grow up in an environment where we are not really, how can I say it? We don't, Hindus kind of have a spiritual lineage, but we really don't. Many Americans don't. And I definitely did not. So when I was doing my spiritual soul searching, I made a lot of mistakes and went into a lot of wrong paths. So when I started getting into Vedanta, I was working in DC, and there's 3 Swamis in the DC center. There's Atmajnananda, Brahmarupananda, and at the time Mahayogananda was there. And I observed them closely because I didn't want to get duped again. And they were the real deal. They really impressed me. And that's one of the things that sold me that, Vedantas, they're pretty sincere. And Swami Vivekananda, if you read his lectures, they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, I guess, oh yeah. And so one of the things I really, really miss, and I don't know if we can start this again, is when the Swamis would come visit us here in Atlanta. I actually found those visits very inspirational. And even if I had something important going on that day, I would drop it to get out there and see the Swami. I thought they were that good. So I don't know if we can start getting the visiting Swamis to start coming back, because I really like the Swami Yogashananda. I found him very inspiring. Swami Harinamananda. And there was that singing Swami who sung so beautifully. The one from South America. I can't remember his name right now. Anybody remember? Oh, it'll come to me. So yeah, I would, and I'm thinking, okay, if we could get the Swamis to visit again, perhaps we could have a rule that everybody has to be vaccinated with a booster shot and promise to have that, and maybe wear masks. I don't know. It's just a thought, but I think that's something I would like to start again. And yeah, that's my story.
Thank you, Brahmadas. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think certainly we should look at the option of trying to see if we can get back at the center, and then also get any visiting swamis coming over to us and see if they can contribute. But thank you so much. That's very nice of you to share your thoughts. Anyone else would like to go next?
I was going to chime in that I think, Brahmadas, you were thinking of Swami Nirmalatmananda.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I think it was Swami Nirakarananda was his name. I think that's who the singing Swami was.
Yes, that's right, Brahmadas. Swami Nirakarananda is from Argentina.
Yeah, when he sang,
correct.
It really moved me. Like,
yes,
just Om Namah Shivaya, I was so moved by his singing. Very beautiful.
Exactly, he's amazing. Thank you.
Hi, Shailesh.
Namaste, Fred.
Hi, this is Fred. Namaste. Namaste to everybody. I'll just jump in. This won't take very long. I'm very new to Vedanta. I've been coming to classes now for about a year here at the center. And I'll tell you a little story how I got here. I retired right during the last presidential election. And the two events really threw me for a loop. And I began searching for a more spiritual life, because I needed to get out of my, what I would call my mechanical personality or whatever. And I had somewhat of an awakening by accident, by reading some things. And I didn't really know what had happened, but I knew something had happened. So I called my buddy, some of you may know him, his name's Jim Pierce. Jim and I are old childhood friends, and I knew Jim was into meditation and that kind of thing. And so I started a kind of a dialogue with Jim. And eventually Jim said, you're asking a lot of questions. I know a guy that knows a lot of stuff. That's how Jim said it. He knows a lot about a lot of stuff. Why don't you call him? And he gave me Brother Shankara's phone number. So I called Brother Shankara and started a dialogue with him. And he was so welcoming and so knowledgeable, and just his presence exuded peace. Now, you guys know him longer than I do. Maybe that's a front or something. But after attending classes and seeing him in lots of different situations, he's always a good, peaceful, calming, encouraging presence. So anyway, I've been learning a lot about Vedanta, and I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself to the class, because they probably see me around or whatever. I want to know who I am. But I'm a retiree. I had a career in music for a while. Then I had another career in what I would call software development. and now I'm full time into grandchildren and Vedanta. So those are my two interests in Vedanta.
That's a perfect combination.
Yeah, it's
We all
life.
transition into eventually.
So I just wanted to say thanks to everyone. I see many names and many faces that I see in a lot of the classes, and I have learned, just as much from everyone's comments as I do from Brother Shankara and also the readings. So thanks to everybody, and I look forward to learning more, and I just wanted to take that opportunity.
Thank you, Fred. It's really nice to see new faces and someone who went through that right path of inquiry and getting talking to your friend and then eventually to Brother Shankara. I think that's, you're very lucky that you took right steps.
Right.
And very nice.
Oh, and Fred, yeah, I've been listening to Ram Dass a lot lately, and one of the things he said is sometimes it's a really terrible experience in life, like it awakens you in a spiritual life. Like some people, when they go through a divorce or lose their career or have death of a loved one, that actually awakens them to spiritual life.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what happened to me.
Yeah, that is true. I think quite a few people have that experience. When I look back in 90s, I was a college student, but something I was missing. And most of us, I think, the earlier you come to that conclusion that I'm missing something, the better it is.
Yeah.
Anyone else who would like to share their thoughts?
I can go, Shailesh. This is Haima from Denver.
Thank you, Haimaji.
Yes, namaste, everyone. Good morning. And I joined Vedanta Society in 2019 on New Year's Day. I was looking before New Year's Day. I was retired. I was really wanting to go into spiritual path more. I was spiritual inside, but I never showed it outside to anyone all those years. So, but I thought my children are gone and grandkids are away. I'm alone. I need this path. I was seriously looking in the internet for nearest center. I realized I was living there very close to the center and didn't know all these years. Nearly 40 some years. I was amazed. But of course, I was doing my worldly duties, raising children, sending them off to college and getting them married and move them away. So now that was the right time. Like Brother Shankara says, everything happens at the right time. So it happened to me January 1st, 2019. And definitely this center and all the spiritual peers, we practice art of spirituality together to the utmost. And mostly it attracted me, honoring all religions and denominations and beliefs equally while we seek oneness among ourselves in the world, in the universe. So that's what attracted me, and I stuck with it, and I joined all the congregations, eatings, and we had a good time first whole year 2019, and then pandemic came and things changed, and I decided to move close to my grandchildren. I moved to Denver, Colorado in 2020 July, and thanks to the Zoom and Brother Shankara's kindness in offering Zoom for all of us, so that continued. And what has it done, these meditations? I've been doing 5-10 minutes before. Now I am to morning 1 hour and night, evening before going to 1 hour. So I am able to sit with my stillness 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening without any problems. So, and that has really increased my detachment from the world. I love the world, but at the same time, detach. You do what you have to do, but detach from the result. And liberation, it is working in me. I can see this. And any opposition or any unflattering comments, I'm able to accept calmly. That's a great improvement through meditation, which I see in myself. Don't react. I just respond with calmness. So that has been a wonderful gift I gave to myself through meditation. And with all of your comments and Brother Shankara's help, and that has really manifested. I can see it's manifesting. I'm not an illumined soul like many other wonderful souls, but I am on that path. life is a journey, but it's not a spiritual journey. But now I am in the spiritual journey path, which really, really helps in dealing with my children, grandchildren. You know, there will always be opposition in this world. Everybody's not going to say what you like. So that has really helped me. It's okay. The world has always been like this. It will always be like this. I don't have to react to it. So I respond with calmness, and it's getting better every day. I'm getting better than yesterday, I could say. I don't get absorbed by the senses. And the meditation and Vedanta society involvement take me to higher realms. And I do not react to any negativity that comes up to me. I have gone through house fire. I have gone through many catastrophes, airplane accident in Kuwait many years ago with a 3-year-old child. And I've gone through a flood to the close to my house, almost it flooded to the front door. And
Wow.
many, many, many events, I felt like it was all Mahaprasadam. I look back and things are going well, it's a prasad, and things are not going well. The adversities really take you to higher spiritual level. I see that in me. Never hated it, but I felt like God has a reason for me to have all these wonderful catastrophes that I could easily get detached from the universe. That's what helped me a lot. And that's what my experience is. And I don't let negativity go underneath my skin. They will have to reflect backwards. Thank you so much. Thanks, Shailesh, and thanks everyone for sharing my story.
Yeah, that's very nice. I didn't know that you lived right here, very close to the center for so long.
I was 1 mile away from there, and I did not know the center for many years, but I was so busy raising kids, of course, doing that job and, you know, raising the family, balancing act, worldly duties, but that was done and it was right time. God has attracted me. Divine power just got me on January 1st, 2019. So it's one of the greatest things. Now we are starting a Vedanta reading group in Boulder, Colorado. Ishatmananda from Chicago came last 2 weeks ago. He is trying to help us build a Vedanta society here.
Oh,
It's a
that's
reading.
nice.
Yes, we're starting on March 4th, I think, Sunday afternoons, 2 to 4. So I'm being part of that now. So it's
Very
just,
nice.
I'm very happy. Thank you. Thank you, Shailesh.
Thank you. You know, I just a side note, I've heard Fred and Haimaji, and with all due respect to you, but you know, we can come to the Vedanta Center much earlier and still you know, do what we can do. So there are younger people I know, I see quite a few times, and that's very nice to see all these young people and to see that, yeah, they can balancing everything. So thank you.
You're truly right. I wish I had known this 50 years ago when I moved to United States. It would have been wonderful, even more wonderful, but that's okay. It's,
Yeah,
I had to do what I had to do.
That's fine.
Now I'm here, what I need to do. Thank you.
So anyone else would like to share their thoughts or anything you have?
Yeah, hi, this is Bhaskar Mukhopadhyay. I'll
Namaste,
make
Bhaskar.
2 observations. Number one, like Hemaji, I am also not close to Atlanta, but I currently live in Maine. So the nearest Vedanta Society or Ramakrishna Mission are probably 3 to 4 hours away in Boston. So I love the Zoom. And what drew me to the Atlanta Center is because you guys just started your journey on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which is definitely a great topic to pick up. And somebody else mentioned that, you know, reading and listening is probably great things to be doing at the same time to reinforce things. I would probably add a third thing to that is seeing it on the Zoom screen will be great. So if you can do that little tactical thing, that would be even better. My second observation is I know that all the Vedanta societies and Ramakrishna missions in the United States typically would get together around summer months and had multiple retreats in a place called Ganges, Michigan. And I know it's stopped for a while. And I have not actually attended a Vedanta Society retreat there, but I have been in that that area, that monastery. It is kind of falling into disrepair. What I was really going to suggest is anything that the Atlanta Center can do, or the others can do, to renew the efforts there and have many more retreats there. I would love to see that, and I'd love to participate. Thank you.
Sure, Bhaskarji, we'll definitely take it to our congregation. Thank you so much for your contribution. I'm glad that you, being so far way up in the north, in the east, northeast, you're still connecting to our center. I hope you find the classes very encouraging and you keep connecting to us. Thank you. Tom, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Can you hear me just as well now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I don't have to hold the microphone. Okay, so my name's Tom Carr. To give you a perspective, I was born in 1950. I got interested or drawn to the spirituality, Eastern spirituality, in my late teens. This was the psychedelic 60s. There was great interest in this among young people in the United States, largely, or at least partially, because of the effect of psychedelic drugs on people. That happened. I tried everything. I traveled around. I went to India. I tried a lot of different spiritual practices. The thing that I eventually settled into was Vipassana meditation, also sometimes referred to as insight meditation or mindfulness meditation. That worked for me. And I started doing long retreats at a retreat center. The longest I ever did was a month. Most of the retreats were like a week long, and you would go into silence and spend all your time in sitting and walking meditation. And that had a really good effect on me. Now, I first met Swami Yogeshananda. I lose track of the time, but it was about 30 years ago. He was in Atlanta, and he had a little apartment where I believe now there's a Whole Foods. But I met him and I liked him. But my real practice was the Vipassana meditation, not Vedanta. And we had a little bit different point of view, which now seems almost irrelevant. The difference between a belief in an eternal self and no self. At the time, it seemed significant. Now I think it's just a matter of different ways of trying to put something into words that can't be put into words. But anyway, Yogeshananda left. I continued with my practice. And then I guess about 20 years ago, I ran into him at a party. A guy named Tom Watson, who Cindy knew, used to have these parties, and Yogeshananda was there, and I thought I recognized him, and we started talking, and I remember we talked about Peace Pilgrim, and we were both really impressed by her. I just recently read her book, and he had read it, and he said he thought she was enlightened, and I said I thought she was enlightened. Anyway, then I sort of reconnected with him, and my girlfriend at the time, Catherine Durant, really connected with him. And we became involved. We became more involved with Vedanta. Now, the last 10 years, I have gone to the center almost every day to meditate. And because I only live 10 minutes away from the center, and it's easy for me to get there. And it's easier for me to discipline myself. I sometimes sit for 1 or 2 or 3 hours at the center. I can't do that at home. At home, I get distracted. But if I go to the center, I'm going to this particular place to do this particular thing, and that works for me. The way that started, it was right after Shankara moved here. Or maybe it was before then. Anyway, it was about 10 years ago. And I was thinking of going off and doing another one of these long silent retreats. But instead, I just went into the shrine room on a Sunday to meditate. And I kind of sat there most of the day in meditation. And then, I didn't mean to. I said, I'm just going to go in there and sit for an hour. But I sat most of the day. And then I thought that was good. I think I'll try it again tomorrow. And I did it another day. And then I thought I might just stick with this for a week. And then after a week, I thought I might just stick with this for 2 weeks. And it went on for, several months, and it had a really big effect on me. And then I started thinking, why do I need to go off to a retreat center someplace else, have all the problems of traveling and sleep in a strange bed? Or why not just do it here? And then we moved nearer to the center, partially because of that, partially just because we like the neighborhood. But anyway, we moved nearer to the center. And I'm thinking about what this has done for me. I still have all the same problems I always had. I get angry with people. I worry about things. I'm still a human being. I haven't transcended a lot of my neurosis. And at times that's caused me doubts. I've thought, well, if this stuff works, why do I still act so badly sometimes? And why do I still worry about things? And why do I get angry at people? But, I had hoped that if I did enough meditation long enough, it would clear all that up. But in my case, it didn't, although it's probably gotten a lot better. But the big thing for me, if I meditate every day, I'm happier. That's it. People ask me what I believe. I say, I believe I don't know much. I really just don't know much about anything, about the human mind or the cosmos or God or anything. I know that if I meditate every day, I'm happier. So I do that. And I have amazing experiences in the shrine room, amazing, wonderful, transcendent experiences, which I can't put into words, but beautiful beyond words. Wonderful things happen. And then afterwards, sometimes wonderful things happen as effect of the meditation. So I'm going to stick with it. Oh, let's see, quick summary of my life. So Catherine died about 4.5 years ago. She woke up one morning, she was really sick. We didn't know anything was wrong with her. She woke up one morning, she was really sick. Ended up eventually, an ambulance took her to the emergency room. They figured out that night she had brain cancer and she was dead 3 weeks later. And that just totally shook me up. That was devastating. I got over that. Well, I didn't get over it, never get over it. I'll always remember her and always feel some sadness. But people would call me and say, how are you doing? And I would say, well, I'm not drunk and I hadn't shot myself, because I was in bad shape psychologically. And the big thing was just not to get self-destructive. But I gradually became happy again and enjoyed life and, found a new relationship. Then about 6 months ago, I was having trouble breathing, and it turned out my heart was really in bad shape, which I had no idea of. I went to the cardiologist. They said, well, we'll do some tests. And they said, oh, you got a problem. We'll do some more tests. And they did more tests, and they said, it's even worse than we thought. And it just went on like that. So eventually I had to have open heart surgery. They cut me open, turned off my heart. But all of this stuff, my own, the heart thing easily could have killed me, and seeing Catherine die really put me in touch with how temporary life is. And at this point has led to a greater enjoyment of every day, because I wake up and I think, oh, I'm alive. I'm alive today. I'm going to have a good day. And I don't know how many days I have left. Nobody knows, but I'm enjoying it. So I don't know if I've talked too long. I probably have. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, Cindy, go ahead.
I'm going to jump right in here and say, first of all, Tom, I either didn't know or forgot that you met Swami Yogeshananda at one of Tom's picking parties, music parties. That's a good tidbit. Um, I could say lots of stuff about my background. I'll try to be quick. My spiritual journey started sometime moments after I was born or moments before. Um, and I had the biggest experience when I was 5 and experienced the oneness of all the universe. And so for the rest of my life, I kept seeking out people who I could talk to about such things. And
Mm.
it was nearly impossible. Had some friends in high school, though, who were also really interested in these things. And, we read, my first real spiritual guide book was the Tao Te Ching. It just totally resonated with me and still does. And then we, read Be Here Now and discussed it, and Carlos Castaneda books and discussed those. And um, anyway, jumping way ahead, sometime around 96, I met Swami Yogeshananda through Jerry Brunner, who was part of the early group of folks meditating with Swami in Decatur, over in Decatur. Jim Pierce and Tom Carr and Jerry. And Jerry said, well, it seems to me that you are a spiritual seeker type person, and that I know you meditate, and here's a place right in your neighborhood where you can meditate all the time. So that's how I started with Vedanta and have been coming on and off ever since. And now, at that time, I lived in the same neighborhood as the Decatur Center, and when it moved to Tucker, a few years later, I moved right down the street. So uh, I don't know whether that's a coincidence or not. But what I want to say more than anything, and more about my own practice or journey, is what I see the center at, this Vedanta center, this spiritual community, why it's so valuable and important to me and probably everybody else who comes. And before I say it, I'll just say it's already been demonstrated by Shailesh beginning and talking about growing up in the Ramakrishna, being initiated by a Swami who was it a president, you said,
We're the 12th president.
of the order, a person, probably no one else here today at least, has that background. So he's steeped in it and grew up in it, and maybe went off and came back and went off and came back. I don't know. But his practice is still what his guru told him when he was 16 years old. And so he is a real, what we call a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. Um, and then we have Tom, who just spoke, who comes to the center more than anyone else, who doesn't live there, right? And isn't what you would call a devotee, but he is of Sri Ramakrishna. But he comes to this center because it is a welcoming place for any sincere spiritual center. You can be a devotee and it is your place, or you can be from any other religion or none. Even you can be totally agnostic or even atheist, but just be looking for a community where you are accepted. And the Vedanta Center of Atlanta has always been that for me, and still is. I love the fact that even during this pandemic, we have not really struggled to stay together because we've done Zoom. It's not the same. And I can't wait till we can see each other in person too. But we plan, once we start doing that, to continue to Zoom it as well. It might be a little awkward and difficult, but we're going to do it because we have people who have become members of this congregation during the pandemic who we don't want to lose, and we're not going to. So I just wanted to say that's what the Vedanta Center of Atlanta is to me. It's just a welcoming, wonderful community, no matter what your spiritual background or practice is. Thanks. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Cindy. Just a side note, like what she said, we are very welcoming, and just because Sri Ramakrishna practiced all these paths, and it's a part of our culture. If you go around in all other centers here, and even in India, we celebrate Christmas and other traditions, and we respect all that. So a lot of people find that very welcoming, even if you are not a religious person but just spiritual. It just helps. Um, for those of you who do not know, Cindy is a board member right now, and she has been a secretary in the past, and she is our media person. She's the one who sets up all these Zoom meetings and everything. So we are really thankful to her for keeping us connected. And I'm glad, that we have someone in our congregation who can take time and do all that. And also another side note I wanted to mention, and Tom, thank you so much for your experience. And what I see is that, when you meditate, when you leave, when people like me come, they get benefited from that. That's how I see it, because of vibrations. Because I'm not that steeped into it, just like what you are. When I'm sitting there for all day long for days and months, I mean, that's amazing and extraordinary. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I just wanted to mention that he mentioned his girlfriend, Catherine Duran. She was a great devotee of our center, and she was also a board member, and she was secretary, and she took care of a lot of things because she had a law background, so or that kind of a thing. So it helped. She helped the center a lot, and she was also a great singer. So her contribution is immense, and we missed her. When she passed away, it was kind of a blow to all of us at that time. So thank you so much. But if anybody else would like to go and share just few thoughts, whatever you would like to contribute, please do not hesitate. It just helps to know, about your practice.
I wanted to get feedback from the congregation. Two people on YouTube I've enjoyed listening to are the Spiritual Bee and Sadhguru. They often talk about Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna. Does anybody else listen to them? And what are your thoughts on those two YouTube channels?
No, I do not. I don't know others. But can you send a message to all, maybe their names, or maybe later on?
Okay.
Brahmadas, I do listen to Sadhguru quite a bit, and actually follow his beginning meditation. That's what I did when I didn't know what the heck was going on with me. Anyway, just wanted to respond to you.
I'll just add, I'm also familiar with Sadhguru, and I don't follow him regularly, but do run across him quite a bit on online social media. People will repost little bits of his talks, which are really good. I think it's worthwhile stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
cool.
good note on Sadhguru's stuff is that whatever way he responds to different questions is probably very, very attractive to the younger generation. So yeah,
True.
yes, he has a certain wit and a way of answering questions, which probably very attractive to a certain genre of listeners.
That must mean that they're young at heart, Brahmadas and Fred.
I just want to make sure, that, I want to get value out of what I listen to on YouTube. And I think this one's probably worth my time. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. Roberto, I saw you unmuted your mic. Would like to share something?
Just on Sadhguru. Yeah, I think he's very intelligent, very knowledgeable. I am a little weary of him though, because he is very financially and social media motivated, it seems. I know a lot of the money goes to building rivers and rebuilding India and stuff like that, but I'm a little weary of him just because of the financial background he has. I like Swami, the the New York Vedanta Society, Swami
Sarvapriyananda.
Priyananda. Yeah, I really enjoy listening to him. His lectures are very just packed with information. And then maybe I can just add about my own spiritual practice. I came to know Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, because I love theoretical physics. I love the physical world. I love studying gravity, Newtonian gravity. Some things are just unexplainable by science, although we've explained so much. And I find that Advaita Vedanta, Vedanta itself, kind of illuminates the stuff that we can't answer. So I've really gotten into learning about it, and I found the Atlanta Society, and I was immediately turned on to it because of Brother Shankara's knowledge of physics and the physical world, and how he incorporates science into religious practice. Because I think his own words is that they often shake hands, that they're not opponents, but that they can come together. So I really appreciate that. And I'm hoping that he can incorporate more physics and more ideas of the cosmos into the future lectures. And he talks about the Higgs field. He talks about the beginning of the Big Bang Theory. And a lot of it goes hand in hand with Vedanta, and I really like that, and I appreciate that. So if he's looking for feedback, I would say if he can maybe try and incorporate more, perhaps, that would be my feedback. And yes, thank you to everybody for your thoughts, and I enjoyed listening.
Thank you, Roberto. Yeah, I'll certainly share that thought with Brother Shankara, or some others have mentioned some thoughts, so that will be definitely taken to him. So anyone else would like to share their thoughts? I see a lot of quite a few new devotees and also old-time devotees. And I don't know how to call out your names, but please, yeah, I can see Brian turning on his video.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to comment real quick because my situation is similar to the last comment. I started looking into the ideas with Vedanta because of I read a lot of physics books for fun. I am an environmental scientist by profession, and but I like all the different fields of science, and I read a lot of physics for fun, even though I don't think I'm quite as adept at math or as adept at math as I would need to be to make that a profession. But I kept seeing a lot of references to the Advaita Vedanta ideas, with mentioning how Schrodinger and Oppenheimer and Heisenberg, a lot of the names of the founding fathers of quantum physics, how they had a connection to the Vedanta philosophy. So I kind of accidentally found out about the center through researching about those ideas. And since that time, I've enjoyed listening in on the classes and being a part of that. And I try to set aside a little time every day to read about the philosophy and things related to that, and started doing the meditation, and I feel that it's decreased my anxiety levels a lot, and it's been bringing me a certain amount of calmness and stability or joy that I didn't have as much of in the past. So I appreciate everyone's feedback and the opportunity to be part of the community, even though I don't always get on video as often as I probably should. So I just wanted to share that real quick and tell everyone that I appreciate that they're here.
Thank you, Brian. We'll certainly take that feedback. I can see Roberto and you both are interested in physics and Advaita Vedanta. When I was very young, I mean, almost 30 years ago, I used to read a lot of science and physics, but eventually when I got into spiritual practice, I realized that the practice, what we do, is what was helping me going forward. And so, but definitely I'll share this with Brother Shankara. Thank you. And thank you for connecting. When if you turn your video off, or keep your video off, it's always good to hear the voice and just interact with all the members. So anyone else would like to share?
I'd just like to say, why don't we run over? We don't need to stop right at 12, and there's so many interesting people here. I'd love to hear more of these stories.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, if we have our devotees who wants to share, then definitely we'll go ahead, and maybe till 12:15 we have another 10 minutes or maybe a little more. I'm fine with it.
Well, it looks like unless we, force them to, nobody else is going to speak. I just wanted to say, Shailesh, Brother Shankara wants me to let him know when we're wrapping up so he can come back and do the closing prayer whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen, I'm seeing Neeraji turning on her video. Maybe she wants to have, share her thoughts. And yeah, maybe in 5 minutes he can come back, and he can come back anytime.
Oh, I just wanted to share how much I have enjoyed coming to the center. And the first time I got introduced to the center was, unfortunately, well, we met Majmudars socially, and they introduced us and talked about all the nice lectures given by Swami Yogeshananda. And that was 2000, I believe it was the year 2000, actually. And unfortunately, that year I had major surgery, and I had known only a few months Swami Yogeshananda. I had started going to the center only a few months back, and he came to visit me in the hospital, at Emory Hospital, when I was having my surgery. And he was so kind. It was actually middle of summer, 90+ degrees, and he comes in his old big car with a big hat on his head, and so loving and so kind. So that's when we started to come to the center regularly. And in 2006, we used to go to India pretty often, but one of the trips before we went to India, 2006, that's when we got initiated by Swami Yogeshananda. And he was a big draw, because we used to go at least once a week to visit him, and then he used to go over some, Vedanta text like Panchadasi and all the other Vivekachudamani, all those with us, gave us one-on-one, sessions. And every week I used to go see him. I used to always take something with me, like homemade preparation, and he used to look outside the window in anticipation, and always he used to ask me, "What did you bring today, Neera?" And he was so happy. He'd say, "Oh, you're the best cook. You don't put too much spices in your foods. That's what I love." And then if I take something for dessert, "Oh, this is going to be my dessert today." So anyways, so that's when we started coming regularly to the center. And as Tom mentioned about Catherine, yes, I do miss Catherine a lot. I enjoyed her singing. She was a beautiful singer. And then over the years, then when Brother Shankara came, we started visiting him quite often. So it's been a very big blessing in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraji. I remember you being a very Advaita Vedanta fan, you and Vijayji, and I hope his health is well. I have not seen him in a while, but you both were very ardent Advaita Vedanta fans, and we used to have that discussion. And I still remember them almost 15 years, or maybe more than 15 years ago. I being a devotee and you being Advaita Vedantist, we used to have a good discussion. Thank you. Brother Shankaraji, I will hand it over to you. I think there are some few more devotees who we may have to share, but I think we are almost wrapping up.
No, please, you continue facilitating until we're ready to close the meeting. I'll just do the closing prayer.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Sundar here. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Myself and Niranjana are here. So I started going to the Vedanta Center around when I was like 6th or 7th, 8th grade, 8th standard, something like that. The Vedanta, I'm from Chennai, India. So the Ramakrishna mutt was near my house. It was just like a walkable distance. So every day I used to pass by it, like for going to the school, I need to pass by the mutt. So there was a library in the mutt. So one of my friend introduced to me about the library. So I used to go every Sundays to the library to read the books, just comics books or something like that, whichever I like at that time. So slowly there was, I used to go in the evenings, and there is a talk which used to be given by the president of the mutt at that time, every Sunday evening around 5 o'clock. So slowly I started listening to the classes. In that way, like I got accustomed, like is Gautamananji Maharaj currently is the vice president of the Ramakrishna mutt. So I used to listen to his lectures. I think he started giving lectures on Bhagavad Gita at that time. Slowly I was like in my school times, like I think in the 10th and 12th, I used to just go on weekends. But after that, like then during my college times, like I started going to the center more, like some of the Maharaj who were giving talks on the Sundays, like I used to go and speak with them after the talks with questions on whatever topics, like if they used to give talks on Upanishads and or whichever topic they choose. So I used to go and speak with them. Then I got, I joined the Vivekananda Youth Center over there. So on the Sundays, like I used to spend most of my Sundays over there. So we used to go to some schools which is quite far away, say like around 20 or 30, 40 kilometers away from the center, and used to tell about Swami Vivekananda and things like that, like whatever the teachings Swami Vivekananda has told. So we used to carry the like small banner kind of things and put in a school and then explain to them and things like that. And also we used to go to some hospitals for assisting the people who are in need, like giving the books and telling about like, okay, so that they don't lose the hope, because some people, like people are like really depressed when they are in the hospital and things are not going in the way. So in that way, I was slowly getting doing both the works. Like in the Sundays, I used to listen to the lectures and also go to this outside places. So it was a very good. I used to like Sundays in that way. So it was going on. So and then I was like, as I was telling, like I used to speak with many Maharaj over there, like, and then slowly like getting involved in the activities, like during any Jayanti celebrations or birth celebrations, like spending the whole day over there, and then or 2 or 3 days before, and for preparation works and things like that. So it was very good. So I came to the Vedanta Center here in 2015, I think. So even before I came to the center, I went to the website and saw about the center. The website was very nice at that time also. And I registered for the emails, and I started getting mails. Like I think I got mail about Brother Shankara at that time, like he had heart surgery at that time. So even before I came, I know about Brother Shankara in that way. So I don't remember the date in which I came here to this Vedanta Center here. So I started, I thought I will go to the center in the morning. To the class at 11 o'clock. But I don't know about the public transportation at that time, because when I was very first, when I came here, like I started around some 9 o'clock, but I ended up landing in the center around 1 or 1:30. So the trains and the bus, it was like I missed some things. So Brother Shankara was there. I just knocked over the door. He told that, okay, the center got like we had a congregation and everyone left before sometimes, but you are welcome here. So I went and spoke with Brother Shankara, and then I went to the chapel and stayed there for some time. And then in that way, I slowly started coming to the center over here. So, and Brother Shankara was like, he used to speak, and then like it was like, as everyone knows, Brother Shankara is very welcoming. So even Brother Shankara used to pick me up in the railway station sometimes, like if I want to come, so it was very nice at that time. So in slowly in the way, like it's going on. So far it has been so good. As everyone has told, like I always felt like wherever, like whichever center I go, it's like it's a family already there. You just need to, like, you don't need to go, and you always find the same kind of environment or the people. It's just that the people and the names are going to get changed, but the things which are going on and the activities are like you are always like, how to say, you are in tune with the mindset over there, so you don't feel a real disconnect kind of thing. So like you always find like the talks or the lectures going on, and you have some activities in the kind of devotional activities, like for the Jayanti people doing some works and things like that. Like the quantity, the number of people may vary. Like in a big center, the number of people who get involved in different kind of activities may vary, but I always felt like it's always there is a connection between the center. So I don't feel a disconnect between, like, whichever devotee you just connect with them, you always feel like, okay, it's like you always you know them well beforehand, you get a feel like that. So so it has been so in that way, like this center has been like I always get connected with it. I don't feel a disconnect, like, okay, I have been just coming to the center for on the first day, or even now I feel it's in the same way. So it is very good. So I got initiated by, like, when I was in my I think when I was in college, I got initiated by Swami Atmasthananji Maharaj. He was president, he was vice president at that time. So and then I'm just trying to continue the Diksha mantra, whatever was given, trying to practice that mantra. I always felt like whenever, like, it's like in the earlier times, you used to get a question like, who am I? What am I doing here? Especially when you're at college times, like you always get a question like, okay, it's like what you are going to do, like what is the aim of what are you doing over here, what is the real purpose? Like sometimes, like even going to the college or like working or whatever you do, you don't know, it's all just going on one by one like that, but you don't know what is the purpose of yourself. What is your aim over here? What are you doing over here? So, and those questions like that, like, get answered slowly. Like during the initial times, I don't find a great kind of inclination towards like what Ramakrishna was telling. Like I found like Swamiji's words were much inspiring, and it's like pulling down, and whatever Ramakrishna was telling was like, okay, it was not much getting connected, but still it was like, okay, it was going on. And mother was like in much farther realm to me. Like I was not able to connect much at that time, but slowly, like slowly you are able to find that, like when you're practicing more, you find much relevance whatever to Guru Maharaj just told. You will find like, okay, this is relevant. It's not just to you at this question, or you are in that situation, or you get the question like that in this time. Even before 100 years or so, people were in a similar mindset, and they also had the same questions, and they also need to undergo things. So it's like you get connected, like there is a lineage kind of thing. Like you feel like whatever you are undergoing, this people who are in the same mindset before 100 years, they also underwent such things. So those kind of things are quite inspiring, and slowly it keeps helping you at different points of time in your life. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Sundar.
Yeah.
I can correlate with what some of your thoughts, being, especially I think those who were introduced to Swamiji's thoughts earlier in India, I felt more appealing to him more than Sri Ramakrishna or Holy Mother. And later on, eventually, as we chant our Guru Mantra or read more books, I think the spiritual power of Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother works through you. Definitely it does that. And that brings us closer to them. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. And Sundar is also very active. He's been a very active volunteer, actually, does a lot of volunteering, and also his wife, Niranjana. So thank you so much for both of you.
Thank you, Shailesh. I would also like to share my experience.
Yeah.
Starting my video, I realized that Sundar was speaking without his video on. Yeah. Yeah, Shailesh. So when I was familiar with Swami Vivekananda because of some of his quotes being mentioned in history textbooks in India. And so my association with Ramakrishna Math and Vedanta Center didn't really start in India, even though I visited the centers in India. Like people would generally visit them because they were closer to the beach side and so on, right? So for various reasons in Chennai, like that, people would visit, and I was just one among them. When I came to US, I think that's when I really got introduced to Guru Maharaj and Mother through Brother Shankara. So when I first came to the center, I didn't feel it was like I was just visiting at another place, right? Like it didn't mean anything to me actually. Then when I spoke to Brother Shankara first time, the thing that struck me was the way he spoke. It almost felt like how our parents would speak to us. So like your mother or father. So he had, I think Brother Shankara has a heart of a mother. So I thought, I was really surprised that how would someone speak so gently and kindly, and also with so much of care and concern to a stranger. Like, because it was the first time I've come to the center, and I don't think Brother also knew anything about me except that I was married to Sundar and just visiting. So that kept me little surprised, and that really motivated me to come to the center, because I didn't think that I could speak like that to anyone, to a stranger, with so much kindness and concern. So I kept coming, and I'm still surprised by that, and I'm still trying to cultivate that kind of what do you call a universal love and compassion towards everyone, right? So I'm still trying to understand how it is possible and how I can work towards it, and how I can be that person who will feel welcomed in my presence. So that's what keeps me going in this path. And as for the spiritual journey, so that also little it came to me a little unexpected, because I didn't have any thought of getting initiated. Like when Swami Sarvadevananda was visiting Atlanta Center, Brother had announced that we could enroll ourselves to get initiated. So there was a procedure before Swami could come to the center and give Diksha. So I didn't enroll myself because I didn't think I wanted to get initiated. It didn't occur to me. So I just did not enroll. And then when Maharaj came, it was a practice in India, like when we see elders, then we just touch their feet and get blessings. So in that way, when Maharaj came, we just got his blessings. And then Maharaj said, if anyone wants to talk to me more, you can come meet me on Thursday or on Friday. Like I think he had come on a Wednesday, and he was asking people to, if they wanted to discuss more, they could come and visit him in the center. He was available. So, and I didn't have a job at that time. I was still applying for jobs through interviews and so on. So I was free. I didn't have any other work. So I thought I can go to the center just on Thursday and Friday. And then we went to the center, and Maharaj was asking like general questions about us and our families and so on. And Maharaj was asking if I was also initiated, because Sundar said he is initiated. I said, yeah, I'm initiated. Then he was like, who is your guru? I said, no, I didn't know about Diksha or anything, right? So I just said, yeah, my father would meditate. My father was actually very regular with his meditation and yoga and so on for many years. So I just said my father would initiate, my father would meditate, and I've sat with him when he is meditating. So I thought that was pretty much about initiation, like you just sit and meditate. And then Maharaj was asking, what do you have a Diksha mantra and so on? I said, no, it was just a peace prayer that I knew. So I just told the peace prayer that this is, so I thought that is a mantra, and I told him that. And he said, no, this is not a mantra, and this is not what is meant by initiation. Like, then he just asked, are you interested in getting Diksha? I said, yeah. Like, and I think the only reason I said yes is because I had no reason to say no. So I just said yes. And then Maharaj said to come the next morning, and it went on. But yeah, looking back, I think that was one of the biggest blessings. And I feel like, so since we are all on work visas in US, and I don't know if, I don't have any plans also as such, like whether I want to be in US or India or anything like that. But I think, but I feel like the reason I have come to US is maybe just to get initiated. That may be also one of the reasons why I had been pulled to US. So that's how I think and feel about it. And my spiritual journeys has lots of downs and maybe few ups, and or maybe more that I don't recognize as ups. But yes, like always, whenever I hear Brother Shankara, then I feel very calm, and I feel like our parents are talking, or someone very close to us is talking. So that really always brings me back and keeps me on this path.
Thank you, Niranjana. About initiation, I will just add, most of us have, I've known so many stories that initiation just happens. If the time is right, the guru will appear, like they say. And in our spiritual tradition, that's what happens. So thank you. And I'm glad Swamiji persisted and he initiated you. So thank you so much. It's almost 12:27 now, almost 12:30 now. And some of us have been here since 11, so it's been almost an hour and a half. So we will close off this session now. And thank you all for contributing and dialing in. And I know some of you have left, but thank you so much. And I'll request Brother Shankara to offer a closing prayer or any closing notes you would like to add. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you, Shailesh, for obviously doing such a good job of leading this meeting. Otherwise, it would not have lasted so long. You were clearly a very good and patient and fulfilling facilitator. And I want to thank everyone who came and spoke. And I want to thank also all of you who did not speak. We think that we must speak. No. The energy that we bring when we gather together like this, there is only, after all, one. As Swami Yogeshananda used to say, consciousness is primary and is not plural. So our consciousness beneath our apparent understanding is one. And so even if you didn't speak, you were contributing by your presence and by your attention. And so each and every one of you, those who spoke and those who did not, thank you very much for your presence. It adds to everything that we do here when you are present. So I will just offer the closing prayer. I'll also add to it our farewell. So with the closing prayer goes this way. And this is Swami Yogeshananda's translation of a very ancient prayer. Let there be peace in outer space. Let there be peace in the sky, on the earth, and in the waters. Let there be peace in the herbs, the plants, and the trees. May the gods be peaceful. May the whole universe be pervaded by peace. Let that infinite universal peace prevail throughout my being. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. And then what has become our farewell. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai, Durga, Durga, Durga. Calling on the Mother and asking this blessing, may we be safe, may we be healthy, may we be cheerful, may we have peace of mind, may we go forward in the loving and protective embrace of the Divine Being as our Mother and Father. Jai, Jai, Jai Ma, Jai, Jai, Jai Pa. So until next time, dears, there is no Monday session this coming week, but we will resume our regular class schedule on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. with our study of the life of Holy Mother. Again, thank you all for your participation. And I know that I'll hear from Shailesh and probably from Cindy and perhaps from some others, what was offered here that they think that I should hear. And that will be very seriously taken into account, you may be sure. So once again, Jai, 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 the Divine Presence. And we can all be so grateful for this congregation and for the presence of one another in our lives. And they lift us up. They lift us up. And in this dark time, this, as Swami Vivekananda said, in this hell of a world, we need one another. So thank you for filling that need. Again, Shailesh, thank you so much.
Thank you for doing what you do for all of us. It's not mentioned here and there, but we all know in our hearts and what Cindy does for connecting, keeping us connected, and you taking all these classes. And I'm glad that you have recovered, or at least recovering, and you are able to be online, which is so good, because we all cherish your company and your presence on a Zoom. We all look forward on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, at least I do, and then we have another meetings on the Saturday and Sunday. But please take care of your health, and we'll see you around. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Shailesh. And there's just this wonderful team of doctors that are and nurses and other people connected with Kaiser Permanente that are doing their very best to keep me running, to keep this machine functional. So I thank and I praise them. So until next time, dear ones, we'll sign off with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brother.
I think Cindy will have to end the meeting. Thank you all, dears.
Thank you,
Shailesh, and everyone.